Real mic, it's gonna work. Is the other one on rail? Good idea. How's it going? Good, thank you. Yeah, good. We should be fine. Yeah, no. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all very much for coming along today and joining us. My name is Ned, for those who don't know me. I'm the mayor. I've got my colleagues, plenty of council staff here, which we'll go through and introduce ourselves. But I just wanted to set the scene for today. Today's basically an informal discussion, a chat, having what's going on in the community. Really want to hear from yourselves. It's not about us talking at you. We really want to hear and have a conversation about what's going on specifically in your area. We've been doing these meetings around Liverpool. I think we've broken it up into 12 different areas and just trying to find out what exactly is in the areas, so it can help us with, I guess, a direction and how we fix them going forward. And just generally speaking, we'll just have a chat and that's it, just a simple conversation. So I'll start off by my colleagues passing the mic around and they can introduce themselves.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Councillor Fiona McNaught, I'm the Deputy Mayor, and it's lovely to see you all on a Monday night.
Hello, everybody. Councillor Caress Rhodes, and it's great to see you again. We were wondering when we were going to have our forum again, and here it is, so it's great to see you.
Good evening, everybody. Councillor Betty Green.
Good evening as well. Name's Peter Hale, Councillor. I think I've been around for about 15 years. Some of you should know me by now. Thank you.
Now, we've got with us a contingent of senior council staff here to be able to answer your questions, because we set as council, we set like the board of directors, we set the vision after listening to the community. We then set the budget and we hire the CEO, and the CEO then hires all these staff to fix up and make Liverpool better. So I don't know who would like to start. Michelle.
Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Huckabee. I'm the Director of Customer Experience Business Performance and Alumni. Nice to meet you.
I won't need a microphone. For the video? Oh, there you go, for the people at home. Okay, so my name is Jason Breton, and I'm the Director of Operations. So that used to be two directorates, what we build, infrastructure and engineering, and also the old city presentation. So They've been merged, and there's a mega directorate called operations, and pretty much everything we do day to day is what I'm in charge of.
And just to help you get a bit of context, so we have a CEO, and then the CEO has 6 directors, and then there's managers underneath those directors. So, and they're all broken up differently. So we got 2 of our directors here, from what I can see, who just introduced themselves, and I'll hand over to Matt.
Yeah, hi, I'm Matt Morris. I'm the manager of Parks and Gardens, looking after the open spaces in and around the LGA.
Hi everyone, David Prasad. I'm the manager of Waste and Cleansing, Resource Recovery.
Hi everybody, this is Mahavir Arya. I'm like a transport engineer. If there's any traffic issues there, I'm here to answer.
I'm Jay Vaidya. I'm coordinator of civil projects and look after the capital works program for this council. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Luke Ostay, coordinator of strategic planning. So all your planning questions, happy to help out.
Good evening everyone. Sorry to make you all turn around. Keith Townley from Open Space Projects. I deliver Council's open space construction program.
We have our lovely customer service team here as well, and our support, all of our other support staff as well. So, and, oh yes, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Noelle Walwell. I'm the Manager of Community Standards, which is essentially the Health, Building Compliance and Regulatory Services section of Council.
Thank you. So that's all of us. I should let you know that the meeting is actually being live streamed for those who can't actually make it here today. So people who want to watch it online. And I'm happy to throw open the floor to see what any particular issue that anyone brings up, and there we go.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Alan Riley. Been a long-standing resident here since 1966. I'm in dispute with the neighbour next door who wants to bring down my brick wall. I've written to you guys that you should have got a CC email that I sent to the CEO. I know this is slow progress as at the moment. It's gone to the manager of the PA approvals or in council, and I still haven't received an answer as yet. However, my concern is that the DA that was actually approved, Section 7B, was to state that my wall was to be retained. And I've had nothing but harassments from the developer and the builder, threatening to knock my wall down if they damage my property. They're not going to pay for it all this. Then they calmed down and they said they'd rebuild it, but they'd rebuild it in a tin fence, a colour-blind fence. Now, we've got a solid brick wall. We've got a solid brick wall for a good reason. The 2 owners of this property back, we had an agreement. This brick wall was partially on our place, partially on theirs, but it was more encroached on their premises. And in return, we built another brick wall from this carport wall to our back fence. Now, my father gave them extra property on the back fence to compensate for what we had taken on their side of the front wall. Now, I've asked this developer, I've asked this builder to mitigation. 6 letters have been sent out so far. I've been inquiring to council to find out what's going on. I said, how can they get a work certificate, sorry, construction certificate, adopted and allowed to happen when this fencing issue has not been resolved? Okay, it may go to land environment court, but the thing is, the role of council is to provide these services to the resident, and we are an affected resident, not getting any answers here. And they've already, to this day, have now put all the steel structure up ready to pour concrete. The problem is that they've measured it from their new brick wall to fence line, 1 metre. But we encroach on their property by 240 mils, which does not give them the 900 access to the side of the house to take a bin down. They don't care. They're going ahead and doing it. And they're still telling us they're going to knock our wall down. This sort of harassment we're getting. And I've tried to reach out to council on many occasions, dating back the last few months. And as I said, now the process is at the stage, they're ready to pour. And I'm in a no-win situation because they're going to turn around and say they have to knock my wall down. Please help.
Yeah, I think if you want to have a chat with Noelle, Noelle's the manager of that compliance department. So if maybe just have a chat with her one-on-one. Noelle is
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So you bring it to us, we're going to bring it to her, so she'll help you out with that. Yeah. No worries. No worries. Thanks, Alan. Thank you.
Yeah, glad, so exciting to see Honourable Mayor here in answering our questions. So I've got two problems, one solution and one question. So two problems is number one, our online privacy that everyone knows, like when Optus got our data leak, everyone is so concerned that Optus is not just one. This is now basically the new normal. We no longer have online privacy. Whenever we do shopping online, you search one product, all the similar product of that brand comes in. And number two problem is online safety. When children, and the content, when children get onto any social media or any like YouTube, parents are always concerned to make sure that when the children accidentally click on something innocently, the similar content, something like suicide or terrible sexual content, just automatically push in front of the children's eyes. This makes children, our parents, very nervous because Google, Facebook, all of these big tech companies, the formula was made addictive. They follow you, they push the similar content, you only click once. So these are the two problems. The solution at the moment is what I got to tell, which I brought the information with you. It was a new startup company only established not even a year ago. They established a new platform called Ganjin World, which is similar to YouTube, but combine the best features of both YouTube and social media. To tackle the problem, they designed the formulas to be non-addictive and not collecting audience data privacy. And also they ensure the content is clean. There's no such thing like parents do not want children to watch. And to make sure how the content is clean, one is their editorial board on the head office. There is a checking mechanism, and also every audience have the option to report every single video you see. You think it's not appropriate, you can report. So my question is, how can I help? What the council can help to introduce this solution to the schools, to the young generation, and to the wider community, especially for children? Because for me as a parent, I'm very concerned about what the next generation is seeing online every single day. There's so much dirty stuff. And no matter how smart you are with your IT, you can never stop your children watch something from their peers. So what's the best and most effective way to introduce this into the schools? And also, Ganjin World is at the moment running a program called Kindness is Cool. It's to inspire any intention or any act of kindness by shooting a short video to share the content. But the process really encourage kindness. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. What was the name of the app or the web page?
Oh, I brought the card, which I will share with. Yeah, it's called Ganjin World. I'll pass the card with everyone. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's we don't really get into promoting things, but I'm going to round to a whole bunch of schools by the end of the year. I'll have a look at this. I'm concerned for my children, so I share that, and it is an issue. So I'll have a look at it, and it's, I tend to talk a lot, so I can probably spread the word when I'm out there doing stuff, and sure my other colleagues here would be as well.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening. I was at the Liverpool Railways.
Can I ask you guys, everyone introduce themselves before when they talk?
Very sorry.
No worries.
My name is Brenda Griffith and I live in Chipping Norton, but I've been coming to these forum meetings for quite a while. I was up at Liverpool Railway Station the other day, and Liverpool at the moment is looking very shabby. And I'm being polite about that. The thing that really got me was I was standing in, I'm trying to think what street it is, It's where the main entrance of the railway station is, and you can sit on the edge there, on some of the raised area, and there's a big tree. And I wasn't going to sit on the edge there because there is so many bird droppings there. It was unbelievable. And I thought, this is not a good look for Liverpool. The other thing that concerns me is the amount of shopping trolleys around, and people are not careful where they leave them. And the other issue I want to bring up is when neighbours build up their backyard, add an awning, pave everything, put an outdoor TV and aim it right over the top of the boundary fence at my front door and blast me out of my house. I have done many complaints to council, and as far as I know, he's been fined 3 times, so he's a bit of a slow learner, but it continues. Now, is there any regulation about outdoor TVs mounted up under awnings, blasting your next door neighbour out of house and home? Now, I know the noise restrictions are supposed to be 10 o'clock during the week, I believe, and midnight on Saturdays and Sundays. But really, watching YouTube videos at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night is a bit over the top, I think. So that's an issue for closer development. And so there's 3 stages in that little bit: raising the backyard, building the awning, mounting the TV, and the noise that comes with it. Okay? Thank you.
So I'll go backwards on those ones. So from the outdoor TV sound, I think, do you want to comment on that, if what our policies on that?
As far as the TV and the noise, you're right, it is limited to those set times of 12 p.m, but it is something we could I could take that on notice and speak to my health officer from more of a noise abatement point of view, and just see what can be done on that. But it's a new one to me, so definitely something I'd look into.
Yeah, because we normally have it for pool pumps and air conditioning units. So,
yes, and they're restricted, and they can be on a timer. But someone watching YouTube videos with the kids, and look, I'm all for family time, but not blaring at my front door and coming through into my lounge room so that I can't even hear my own TV. That's a bit over the top.
No, that's a fair point. So we'll look into that and I'll see what we can. Ultimately, whether noise comes from a pool or it comes from an air conditioning unit, noise is noise, or a TV. So there should be consistency in regards to that, especially with more people sitting outside and doing that. I'm going to hop into our councillor for ibis birds. So Councillor Hull has a great affinity with the tree you're talking about. This is on the corner of Railway Street and Big Street.
That's the one.
And yes. Our director of operations has been talking. We've been dealing with the lady with the school. I don't know if you want to say anything, Peter. No. Jason, do you want to talk about it? Because
let me deal with points 1 and 2. Okay. CBD looking trashy. Shabby?
Yeah.
Okay, hands up. It is. Yeah. Okay. The challenge with a CBD, it's like a vehicle. It's got a Toyota chassis, a Ford engine, Holden wheels, Mazda parts. It goes okay down the road, but it's not working as efficiently as possible. Yeah. Some great news. Okay. Through our West Invest projects, we've managed to pick up 26 million, M for $1 million, to work on Railway Scott and Macquarie Streets. That work starts next year. I've appointed a project manager only last week with an expertise in streetscapes, and the Mayor and councillors would be aware of our master plan for the CBD. What I want to do with the CBD is to homogenise that, make everything look very similar and get the best bang for my 26 million bucks that I can. That includes better street furniture, but also importantly, I know very close to Councillor Rhodes' heart is lighting to make better place. So really good lighting and sensitive lighting and really kind of appropriate lighting, whether that's in the trees or whether it's solar, whether it's on the footpath. But lighting forms a really, really important part of the narrative when you walk around the CBD because it's a little bit trashy. Okay, get it? Liverpool boy, understand it, and we're working through that. With the ibis birds, I was kind of hoping the last thing you guys would talk about tonight was ibis birds, because between Greta Thunberg and everybody else, I can't solve all the problems, right? My idea maybe a few years ago with that tree would be to trim it about 1 centimetre off the ground. That's a joke. But of course, we've got requirements around how we trim that tree. Rest assured, we have our environmental manager, Michael Zengowski. He's been given the brief. There's a concept called de-egging. I won't bore you with what that is, but we have an approach around the ibis birds because, quite frankly, they poo everywhere. Okay, and there's a school next door. We've written to the principal. We've let her know what our tactics are, and we're going to put in place some work around the ibis bird. I can't stand here and tell you it's going to be solved automatically. And now we've had some great suggestions, I think, from an unknown councillor to get the fire brigade and hose them away. But the fire brigade didn't want to play with that. But there's a whole lot of solutions. Rest assured, every legal solution that's available to us, we're putting into place. But the de-egging must be during the breeding season, which is not now. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult, but we're having a crack at it.
And we need to get...
On the plus side, big park looks lovely.
Thank you very much. Yep,
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
So good job there.
Okay, me again?
You can come and you can sit with us if you like. Come and join us.
You sure?
Yeah, why not? Come along. So with the just with the de-egging, we need to get a license from wildlife. It takes a few months to get one because we just did the Cecil Hills had a big issue with the ibis birds there as well. But ultimately, our job is we need to give Jason more staff, more money, and onto the front line because we'll make it look good, and we got to maintain it that way. So, yeah, it's very important for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Darren Jewell from Hammondville. Thanks to the Mayor and the councillors for the opportunity to ask some questions. I've got some direct questions based on my ongoing experiences in interacting with council, particularly in relation to development compliance and generally the planning system and how council fits into it. So my first question is, does council accept its role as defined in legislation as the enforcement regulatory authority responsible for monitoring development at a local level and ensuring that developers and private certifiers follow all rules and all conditions contained in a development consent? Are council staff fully aware of the scope of this role? Is council's development compliance team adequately funded and staffed to ensure timely responses to resident and ratepayer concerns regarding non-compliance issues that are reported to council, and for the proactive preservation of resident amenity, including air, noise and light pollution, security and privacy concerns caused by breaches of development consent, and general traffic congestion? My third question is, what course of action do residents have to protect their residential amenity, even when after making submissions to council and presenting to the local planning panel, gaining the agreement of that panel that extra consent conditions are required, yet those conditions can be breached with no enforcement action taken against concerns that were foreseen during the approval stages and have come to fruition and remain unabated? And fourthly, I ask a direct question, is how can it be that council has allowed a business to operate and occupy a partially developed land across 5 residential sites without an occupation certificate and therefore without the requisite insurance, fire safety and all those other things that come along with that, as well as causing undue congestion to Hammondville during that process? Thank you.
I have support of this question. I offer my support to these questions.
Okay. Yeah.
Same here.
So
That's what I was on
Same here.
before.
So I'll go to Noel in a second. The number 2 question about do we have enough staff in compliance? In simple terms, I would say no. We could put more on. We have the numbers. I'll get them to talk about it. But ultimately, we got the budget constraints. It's like, well, what council needs to do is focus on what are the most dangerous issues to respond to immediately, and then work their way backwards on there.
With all due respect, there is obviously budget to build a new building, a new civic centre. There is budget for cultural events to be run every other weekend in the centre of town. This is a regulatory, statutory requirement of council to follow, and they seem to be dropping the ball on this.
Yeah, look, we could put on another 10, 15 compliance staff. We could find everybody. Like compliance is how far you want to go with it. You know what I mean? It's like police. Do you want them on every corner getting one for jaywalking? You know what I mean? That's not necessarily, it's that sort of spectrum. But I'll get Noel to talk about it. When there's safety issues, there's got to be priority? Yeah. So if I can give you the where, I guess, the journey that we've been on. Number one, I guess we're shifting the mentality of the organization and the culture of the organization. Now, that's not something that happens overnight. So we've got a new CEO. He's got a new team of directors. Now, every director is either from Liverpool or used to live in Liverpool. Like Jason grew up Casula boy through and through. And we all have that connection. Every single one is connected to the area. What that means is they've got skin in the game. They care about this place. They're not coming in here and leaving. They actually are committed to the cause to make this area better. Noelle's a new manager. She's just started there. She just started only, 2 months ago? 1 month ago, right? And I won't go into the challenges that were within the compliance department and what happened. Happy to have a chat with you privately about it. But anyway, there's a significant change. So there was a focus on we were getting a lot of phone calls where somebody buys a house and there's been a granny flat there for 30 years, and then council knocks on your door and says, show us your approval for this. And it's like, well, I just bought this place. It was here when I got here. And then all of a sudden there was it was very low risk because it's already been there. Carports, same sort of thing. Versus when the serious issues were coming up, we didn't have enough resource for that. So I think from our point of view, it's saying what is the most important thing and going for it. We did have a compliance levy. A compliance levy was raising us things like $1.6 million every year. And that was every time you lodge a development application, you'd pay a percentage of a levy on that. And that would go to help council fund its compliance services. That was stripped away from us in the state government. We're not allowed to charge that anymore. So that pretty much, that wasn't very helpful. I won't go on to the building. I have my views of the building, but I don't think it's an appropriate use of money, but we're now dealing with it. We inherited it and we're dealing with it. And at the moment, we need to make sure we get people to come and rent it out. So there's a bigger challenge if we don't get that, but thankfully it's looking positive. And then I guess when you look at it, it's like, where do you put your money to? We had 60,000 people. The events that we had on the weekend had 60,000 people, 61,000 people attend. Half of it's funded by the state government. It's that mixture of how do you get lifestyle, how do you not? But our safety is vital. That's what we're focusing on. In Austral has massive issues when we built a whole new community out there, and there's no footpaths. There's nothing. It's very bad. So our focus is we'll put temporary footpaths down. If it means we have to rip them up in 5 years when the road finally gets through, so be it. We cannot risk it. But I'll hand over to Noel if you want to talk about that a bit further.
I suppose your question there was quite a bit in there. And in particular, what is it that you wanted to put to me of the compliance section?
First of all, because a private certifier was involved with the council was washing their hands. Anytime I spoke to anyone in compliance, they wash their hands of it. No, it's a private certifier.
Yeah.
When the private certifier is implementation, the council has a role to play in not just sitting off the fair trade to put a complaint against the private certifier. The council has boots on the ground responsibility for enforcement and compliance.
It does.
And that's taken nearly four years to get someone from the health department to from the environment of health to investigate. Again, they raised an issue where there's no way that they could have an occupation certificate. They're clearly operating, they're clearly running massive traffic through that place on a daily basis. And they barely had a construction traffic management plan for only the construction workers, gentlemen. So we've got all this extra traffic hitting Wattle Road, and basically, I've spoken to private certified, down to private certified for years.
Yeah, so if I can just speak to that. When the legislation changed and enabled private certification, it essentially gave certifiers equal powers as council. So that's why they're actually called a certifying authority. So just like council is an authority, they have equal power.
Who has the compliance? Who has the enforcement compliance? Even when they have done WDN, when
Yeah.
private certifier
Yeah.
has given WDN, and council has made an active decision not to pursue enforcement, to allow the developer to seek consent to change those conditions
Yeah.
in order for them to operate outside of what the initial conditions of the LDQ presented.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So I'm not across the WDNs, but that could prompt certain action, and that's something I'd have to take on notice and look into. But like I said, it does get very messy and frustrating for the community when we have private certifiers, whereby if there is, say, a non-compliance, it does then get referred to the Department of Fair Trading, because just like we would if we were ignoring something.
On the fair trading, I've been given the fact sheet back. It says, clearly says the role of council in this process. I've sent this to your council officers, I've sent this to David Day and many others in the compliance team. And still, they reticent, if not completely unwilling, to take it on because, either, it's quite so far, they're going to it costs us too much money, we have to take it to court, we just don't have, we're dealing with our own applications, we can't deal with these private ones. It just seems to have been every excuse under the sun not to take a proactive approach to preserving management.
Well, I will look into that, but essentially, someone from the office is saying it's a private certified matter. There would be a reason for it, which I need to investigate further to find out for you. But I know that our traffic section is also looking at those traffic management issues, so hopefully we can come up with some sort of traffic mitigation measures to alleviate some of those problems. But that's one thing we can look at.
They shouldn't be operating there until they finish their car parks, and that they should just stop the traffic until they're ready. That's the simplest solution.
All right, well, I'll take that on notice and I'll find out more on that for you.
Hi, I'm Councillor Grant. I'm happy to meet with you and work with you and support you in working with council. My pleasure.
Can I ask, just to stay on topic, are there people who have compliance issues that we can sort of talk about them in a group, right? And then we can move on to other issues in a group.
I can offer an example of the compliance issue within the suburb. My name is Pawan Gupta. I'm a local resident for about 27 years. And very important questions have just now been raised, and my support is available for this gentleman. As an example, I would like to offer that most probably a non-council certifier has approved a project in Salamua Crescent where so many driveways have come up within just one boundary that according to the legislation that between the driveways there should have been at least enough space for driving a car for the visitors. Such spaces are being compromised. So this I had learned when I had attended the court's proceeding in one of the cases of the another case 6-7 years ago about the boarding house. Now projects something like that are mushrooming in Falsworthy. So the question is around the same questions, whether the council is able to keep an eye on the compliances issues and challenge them legally that these are going over the head.
So we have ultimately what we do, just so you know, overarching. So we set the budget, the vision, and also the policies. So we're currently reviewing the compliance policy. I came to council last week. We deferred it to a workshop on it. We're going to put that policy on exhibition. Can I strongly recommend that when it's out there, and it's not a fun document to read, but read it and put your feedback in there, because it's really up to the community to say how much do you want us to go on this, how far. But ultimately, there is the bare minimum. If there has to be, health and safety is number one. That's got to be priority. Complying with the conditions of consent, that's vital. You can't get it. That's why they're there. That's why people have to do all the work within the application, and we put those conditions to make sure that they comply with it.
When can we hope that a document available for us to see?
I think it'll be out probably. We have a council meeting on the 14th, roughly 13th, 14th. We'll more than likely put it on public exhibition, but we won't do it over Christmas because everyone is busy. So we'd probably imagine we'd probably start it after Australia Day again. It'd go up for a few weeks' time. Like today, we've got out there the Hammondville Plan of Management, which is the password to log in. Yeah, so we'll put it back out in the new year, right? Sorry, who else had their hand up about compliance? Yes. I'll go to you then. Oh. Pardon? Not on compliance, or we'll stay on, please, if that's all right.
Rosalind Fagan, I live on Alfred Road at Chipping Norton, and I've lived there for 60 odd years. I sympathise with this gentleman because this is partly one of my issues that have been ongoing for years and years and years. So we live near this stupid development that was an industrial development that is bound by Wendellbury, Alfred, Aylesbury and Governor Macquarie Drive.
Did you want that a few years ago, that little park?
Yeah.
Did you come to speak to council about that many years ago?
Yes,
a little bit of that.
and other issues and developments that have
Yeah.
happened there.
All right.
So we have had no response and no assistance from council at all to the issues that this continually causes us as residents. One, from the continual DAs that we get bombarded with. A developer themselves has their own DA. That's all they have to deal with. We get constant DAs that we need to try and peruse through ourselves, not having the knowledge of the actual policies that we need to try and wade our way through to see how they're going to impact us. These developments then get their foot in the door and then make little development modifications, which will increase their operating hours, which will increase their capacity, which will change their actual production, rather than warehousing to manufacturing. And none of us are taken into consideration to the impact that it has on us. Now, compliance say it's not an urgent issue. Well, these issues do have a health impact on everyone. So to be woken up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, continually with containers, in a development that's supposed to be working from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m, which we considered, withdrew our objections to because of the development only being warehousing and the fact that it was going to just operate at those hours. We have no comeback. There is no one that will go in there. We get told now that because of COVID, these places can work 24 hours. But when we look at the state compliance with that, it's up to the councils to look at that. And they actually then are not allowed to work 24 hours if it's actually affecting the actual residents that are around there. So I sympathise with this gentleman. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to get any help because ours has been going on for over 20 years, even more than that. So you want to know what the issue is? Sure, we have this big issue that we as residents are not taken seriously as to the impacts on these developments that are right on our front doors. So I think that needs to be addressed. Compliance needs to take our complaints seriously, not being put aside as a serial complainer. One compliance officer spoke to me one day and said, "You bought there, that's your problem." Well, excuse me, I've been there for more than 60 years. I was there before the factories were there. So don't tell me you bought there, it's your problem. So I think they do need to take us seriously, and that is a big issue that we need some support from council. That you say you've got new staff members and that here. There are constant staff members, constant change in staff members. So there is not one person that we have as a consistent person that we can actually contact. We have a Dakin development that I'm going to have to say that was publicised with Tina and Perrottet the day before, saying that the development was going ahead, the day before the submissions even closed. I put in submissions saying that the development does not comply with the the Liverpool control plan. It doesn't comply with the development plan, or LLEP. It doesn't comply with any of those, and yet it's gone ahead. I've been told we were advertising this development saying it was a 2-storey warehouse. It's not a 2-storey warehouse. It's 15 metres tall, which towers over all the other buildings that are there, and it's not a warehouse, it's production. There is nowhere in their actual DAs that they have requested approval for production. We've now put in a new substation out the front. We've wrecked all the landscaping, and yet why are we putting in a substation if it's just warehousing? So if people are relying on these actual notifications that you get, development consent forms, they've got to be outside of development, they need to be accurate. Like, if someone goes past and says, well, yeah, sure, they can actually build on that property that they have. If they're going to build it at 2-storey, that's fine, it's going to fit in with everything else. You say 2-storey, and then when you look at the plans, it's double the height of everything else that's around it. That's not 2-storey. And if you say it's a warehouse, and yet you've got a production line, you've got all sorts of things and a new substation going, that's not warehousing. So people have come through, have gone past, local residents have been given that letter. They may not have actually complained or put in a submission. That's because they thought it's not going to impact them. And what we find that happens is that the initial development comes in and it says, this is going to be our noise output, it's not going to affect you much at all. Then we get another development application that comes through for the same thing. It says...
Sorry, can I just interrupt you for a moment? Just to get my bearings right. I grew up on I lived on Wendellberry, yes. So familiar with it, and that's an area where you probably have the worst conflict, be having a residential zone and then across the road industrial. So yeah. No one else really should have that, but that's an old thing.
Yeah.
So you're saying on Alfred Road, because you've got that, where's that factory? Is it Mars or what are they called? There's the one on Wendellberry, that 2-storey one.
Doris Kelly's.
Tennis.
Doris Kelly's it was, yes.
Yep, and then there's that little park, that little block, empty lane. And then you go down Alfred, there's
all the factory units.
They're all the factories, like all the, it's fenced off, there's all those little factories. And then there's the fencing place on the corner, which used to be Dakin on Governor Macquarie Drive.
Dakin only rented that, so it's not owned by Dakin.
Yep.
So Dakin are next to the factory units. Then there's another factory that actually has Uniden and another importer in it. Then there's the fencing.
So
and then Dakin's also attaches to Governor Macquarie Drive. Okay,
so Dakin they're going there as well, okay. Well,
they are there.
They're there. So they've got the application, you're saying, so they have an application now to do, you're saying they're manufacturing on site, and all these smaller applications, you're saying it's coming from inside that factory complex?
Oh, over the years has happened, yes, but then
there's
this big development that's come through now that does not comply. This is the one that I'm saying that they've advertised it as two.
Where is that going?
That's going on Governor Macquarie Drive.
Yep.
But it overtowers the Uniden, it overtowers the fencing place. It's twice as high as those. Twice as high as those. But then we get told the noise that's coming from there now, it's okay, our new development will be okay because it's not going to increase it much more than what it is now. But they don't go back to what the original noise was that was coming from there to start with.
Yeah.
So they don't look back at that. So no one looks at the compounding issues. And like Dakins themselves, if they keep inside their factory, that might be okay. But us as residents, we have all of those factory units, 58 factory units that actually, if you have one truck that goes in there a day, that's 58 a day. Like, that's a lot of trucks. You've got 58 garbage trucks that come through. It's supposed to be gated. It's supposed to have the gates closed. Someone obviously gives the garbage truck guys keys or controls because they come through whenever they need to. in all hours. We get containers dropped off at all hours. It's just the whole lot. And I think that there needs to be some consistency and someone to take us seriously, and it is impacting our health. It is.
So that is, I guess, a unique situation. That zoning, you never should have had any other, you should not have had industrial zoning on the other side of Government Quarry Drive.
I
should have been like that.
I totally agree. And when you look at that plan, you look at that aerial shot, it's an absolutely stupid position to have that industrial pocket.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think it's important that we should be listened to. Because if you can see that it's a stupid pocket of industry, then you know that it's going to create problems with the residents.
Yep.
And it is. And long term, you have other people that might move on. But there are other people that have lived there for a long time, and it's becoming very draining. It's quite frustrating, and why should we have to move? Why should we move to sleep? And to put it on top of all of this, from all of this, and you know what stress situations that happened, that my husband did have a cardiac arrest, not getting any sleep, micro sleep on the way home, that's health impacts. So really, I think that you need to listen to the residents, and compliance doesn't mean, you've got a bloody bull running down the street, which is going to, be a problem to someone. They need to listen to us. And they need to really look in and find out exactly what the compliance issues are, what their controls, their responsibilities, and to really listen to us.
And they're not doing that.
No.
And I can vouch for that, Mr. Mayor, because I know that we've listened to this complaint, we've given it to the council at every one of our former district forums, and here we are again today.
Can I just make a point there? Overnight, noise travels. And I can hear from my house, there's extra noise down from that Alfred Road area. There's nowhere else it could be coming from. And so if I can hear it, everybody else can as well.
So where we live, we are just up from Dayton's. So we are up.
I know where you are.
Yes. Now, Dayton's have their roller door open.
Yep.
They shouldn't have it open. They are stamping in the middle of the night, which is a really loud bumping sound. Now that roller door is facing away from us. But if anyone knows about sound, it bounces. So it actually goes back to, bounces off the Uniden factory and then comes up the street. So that is a compliance issue, and it's a large issue. I've brought the attention to council of units that are operating in the factory units there that have not got development consent for the operations that they're doing. We have a gym that's operating there that actually has withdrawn its applications, and yet they're working there at 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, and yet they're only supposed to be there, the whole factory units are only supposed to be open from 7 to 6. So they've actually withdrawn their application. We actually have a, what do you call them? It's a industrial group that actually have concrete pumps that park their concrete pumps in the car park behind the fence and start up at all ungodly hours of the morning and take that out. We have and that's not warehousing and distribution. That's not part of that. Maybe warehousing if they put their concrete pump truck in the unit, but they know they don't.
Yep.
There's a stone supply company that comes in there. They actually just come in at all hours. So it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
So if you look, what we want to do ideally is that when you call customer service, we have a director of customer service. The whole point is that our job as an organisation, as council, is to respond to residents and listen to residents, right, and fix the problems. Ideally, you should never have to call any one of us. We don't want to be here as, well, we happily do it, but we don't want to be another extension of customer service, because if they're doing their job properly, then your issue gets solved, right? Now, when Michelle's team feeds that to compliance, compliance needs to control, understand the issue and sort it out, right? Or when it goes to a maintenance issue, a pothole, the park's not done, Jason's team solves it and gets it over and done with. So we have a significant focus on that. And then what we need to identify, is it a resourcing issue? Is it a policy issue? In your scenario, what the biggest problem is, it's you should not have industrial and residential nearby, right? And when the laws are being applied, the LEP and everything, they're saying, oh well, it's industrial land, no worries, go for it. Where it should be treated differently because of the proximity to residential.
And
right?
I noticed that when people put in their development applications, the newer applications that come out, they actually fail to say what is on it depends on which side. So they'll actually mention that there are factories on 3 boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
They never mention that there's residential on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's a deliberate ploy, I feel, so that someone in development will say, oh, it's industrial
Yeah.
area, it's fine, not near any residents.
Yeah, because they're not used to having an industrial area next to a residential area. It's not, should they? So from this, I'm happy.
And I do understand the process because I do ring customer service.
Yeah.
And I do get some responses.
Yeah.
A lot of it now is just nothing
Look,
we can do.
I'm happy to allocate the resources. We'll have a chat to Noel and say, let's go through and find out exactly what should be happening there. If you're saying there's a restriction of trade and hours, and ensure that's compliant and go through that. So, yeah, if we've talked about it, so we'll, sure, Noel's happy to go through it. All right. Thank you, Rosalind. It was just...
Rosalind, and I'm happy to help you to follow that.
Thank you, Chris.
While on the subject of data, what's happening with Cooper's Paddock?
They're eventually building their path. What else? What was there? Anything in particular about Cooper's Paddock?
It's been discussed through our forum for quite some time now, and it's been 8 years since the VPA or whatever it was placed on it, and we still haven't got any action on it.
About the bike path?
Yeah.
Or is any other? What else was in there that's particular?
Bike path, bush regeneration, all of that work was supposed to have already started, hasn't started.
Do you have any comment, Luke? Or yeah. So VPA sit in this.
Ned, can I? This is my topic that I've been on for 8 years. Yeah. This project has been for 8 years. It started in 2015. We're 2023. Nothing has happened. Had they carried the work out when they should have in 2016-17, cost them $1 million, would have been done. The people at Chipping Norton could have a beautiful bush area that they walk through. The residents don't realise it's 18 hectares of land that's going to be donated to council. This is through the VPA. It's 1.8 kilometres of the Georges River, and when the ATC did the development, they did a specification to say that they would restore the area to its pristine condition with all natives, removing all the weeds and everything, putting a bicycle or a track through there for pedestrians and also service vehicles. 8 years ago, I'd spoken at council 3 or 4 times about it. And you know what? I brought it up at the Environment Committee meeting. We had a new planner in there. They invited this planner to come, and she came and she said, yes, I've sent them a letter, and I'll send them another. So the next meeting came. I said, what happened to the second letter? She's going to take court action. Now, that's been pushed aside, the court action. And I'd say to myself, why, after 8 years, hasn't council taken action on it? Claire's the name. Claire's the name of the lady. Now, the latest one was that council is going to do the path. Now, why is council getting involved in something that the contractor has clearly stated in the specification, the whole lot, that they are going to do the work? Now, council's put its hand up and said, we're going to build the park. Now, I just find, and this is 9 months ago, the start of the year, still nothing has happened. 8 years. It's going to cost them $6 million to restore the area as in the specification they promised. Of course, they're not going to spend $6 million. They're going to do a bodgy job. But while I'm around, I'll supervise it and I'll bring it up to council and I'll talk about it. So it's community land. But like I say, just take them to court and say, well, do the job, and that's it. Pretty simple, mate. And I've got good faith. We've got a new crew here. I think the councils are fantastic. And I think Liverpool is on the way up. The new directors, I've got a lot of faith, and I've actually spoken to directors myself, and I feel it's really good that the community, like myself, and a lot of people can't get up and talk, right? And I don't mind talking, and what I talk about is on the behalf of the community, right? It's all about the community getting the results. We're paying good rates, and besides that, this project is funded by the ATC. They're paying the full cost. Whether it cost them 5 million or 10 million doesn't matter. That's what they've hooked into, and that's what they're legally responsible for. Thank you, and I'll leave it with you, Ned. I know you'll get some results.
I'll pass on to Luke, then I'll make comment, which will get you burning even more. But I'll pass on to Luke first.
Thanks. It's a really good question and points raised. And we actually have a far smarter, better manager who's going to take over this role very soon. I'm just a fill-in, but I'll try and answer this as best I can. Yeah, really complicated one in terms of how long it's dragged on for, and it is frustrating that as part of a consent for a development like that, they're supposed to provide all of this, and it's been many years since that's been approved, and we still don't have the dedication, remediation, the path, all of that. The team is working on that at the moment. The way VPAs work, we hold security against all the works that need to be done. So we hold bank guarantees typically for those works to make sure that they can't just cut and run and forget about it. But it is messy, it's legal, it can be drawn out processes. We are working on that as best we can. And like I said, we really want them to deliver, and they should deliver fairly for the community, given the consent and the development that is now operating on that site.
Let me get you on to, now that you brought up one of my more relevant recent topics. Well, it's not been recent, it's been a while. So, Bob, you mentioned that's one path, Cooper's Paddock? Yes. Right. So, for those who don't know, what happens is council, when they release land, they make a plan saying, here's all the stuff that has to go into the suburb. A park, a community centre, drainage, the roads happen as well as part of it. Now, that's a levy, that's what they call a contributions levy as part of your development. So everyone here would have paid one, whether it was you who paid it, or whether it was the person, I think, was it Delphin, who did the subdivision here years ago? They would have paid it, and that's what's funded. Austral has 30,000 homes going in there, and I think was it Luke, $2 billion we need for that in contributions to fund all the infrastructure there. Now, we also have other things where when land is rezoned, like Cooper's Paddock. Cooper's Paddock was it was part of the race course, and that's private recreational land. They zoned it to an industrial land, and they said, okay, well, we're going to give you all this walkway. And yes, as you said, it was 2015, I think, when actually, but we negotiating it for many years before that. Now, that's one walkway that hasn't been done, that's been agreed to. There's another walkway. There's the paper mill one, which finally got done, and that had issues with getting approvals from the people who run the rivers, not fisheries. It's another department. Water, land and water or something. There's another one for New Brighton Golf Course. When they had that subdivision, they dedicated the land to council, and they're supposed to build a walkway there. There are three that are supposed to be done that haven't been done in the years. From a VPA point of view, VPA stands for Voluntary Planning Agreement. And how can I put it this way? That's an issue that's outstanding. We had a long council meeting the other day talking about this very one issue. So whilst we say we don't have money as a council, right? When I say we don't have money, we inherited a budget deficit, $11 million. That's our position is. We turned up in January after the election and said, "Great, everyone, you're going to go back into administration in 18 months. if you don't fix the budget. At the same time, we had, Liverpool had grown and there's no extra staff cutting the grass. The grass was all over the place. The rain didn't help, but we had those challenges there. We also had 1,100 outstanding development applications, and 50% of them are just houses. Our mums and dads trying to build a house. We'd get in there waiting for 9 months, 10 months, calling the office crying as things are getting more expensive. It's none of the big stuff, it's majority little stuff. So we had to work out how do we balance the budget whilst improving our service delivery. So we gave Jason's team over 15 new people to cutting the grass on the front line, and that always has to happen because Liverpool is growing. So if you're not constantly hiring people on the front line, right, you're going to have this deficit and you're going to get you a worse level of service. We hired more people on the planning team, that's getting better, and we made a decision to go in 3 years, we're back to a balanced budget. So we're tracking on that. Our first budget was actually an $8 million deficit, what we projected, but we actually delivered a $500,000 surplus. But we did it in 1 year, but we're not excited yet because it's about the trend. It's about how we fix it over that. So that's our operational position. From a contributions, from an infrastructure point of view, council has $280 million sitting to deliver infrastructure. That's defined, that's specified, that's sitting there. It's basically, we as residents have gone to the shop, we've paid for something, and we haven't got, we've gone to a restaurant, we paid for it, and we haven't got our food. That's what's happened. Now, Austral has $80 million. Austral's coming in very quick. It comes in at $30, $40 million every year because it's growth. We as an organization did not get ready for that growth. Austral was started in 2017 when people started moving in there. They still don't have a park. So imagine, you're a mom and dad, you're going to bring up your family. Imagine not having a park in your area. But the money is there. Council never said, okay, when I said we're a customer service organization, that's what we do, but we also build communities. We saw how Wattle Grove got built up, right? And it's always easier when you have one landowner, but put that aside. Edmondson Park. Imagine Edmondson Park doesn't actually have a park. And we went there for a meeting, and a VPA that should have been done hasn't been done yet, and we're still waiting. But who's suffering? While council and staff are arguing with the people, the community is not getting stuff, right? I can go on. So we are, let's just say, we're changing the way that council is working with contributions, because normally we're just ticking off stuff. Yeah, that's fine. We flipped it. We now have a committee established. We're sitting there every month looking at the contributions, what's in there, what areas are for, and let's go out there. And it's not spend it, it's give the community what they paid for. So you will see a record investment in infrastructure once we get all this sorted out. Like there's money, and yeah, like the river walk, that's a passion of mine, getting that walk going. Pleasure Point, the Pleasure Point got 100 and something houses, and there's that walk, we have all the land along the riverfront, and we're gonna build a walkway there, but we have the money, but we haven't built it. Like people live there, like why aren't they getting it? So it's there. And then even the Don Hodge land, we're saying to them, well, because ultimately once you get through, you do the Pleasure Point, then you have the Hodge land, and they're saying, oh, well, Hodge, like, I'm not gonna knock down the houses until my mother passes away, which is fair enough. But give us something in between, because once you put that in connection between, all of a sudden you're a Voyager Point. People from Pleasure Point can go to East Hill Station. And then you're not, with one little bridge, you're in Lieutenant Cantello Reserve. And then you're connected into the golf club. The golf club, that's it, we don't pay for that. And then there's another bit we have to do in the marina. So it's actually not far to get this done. So can I assure you, we're very motivated to make sure infrastructure gets spent quickly, right? True. All right. On top of the 170 million we got for West Invest. So there'll be record stuff. So yeah, on the issue of West Invest, so we were able to secure from the previous government $170 million, not on election commitments, but actual money that we won in a bidding process for infrastructure projects. So the new spool at Carnes Hill, the $25 million that Jason mentioned before, $40 million for Brickmakers Creek. So yeah, it was in $27 million for Light Horse Park. So you'll have a lot more walkways just in the Cooper's Paddock coming very soon. And what we need to do is give the CEO more staff and a framework to manage it better, because we're now taking a more active role in that.
Well, I hope I'm still here to see it.
You'll see most of it.
If I don't see it, I'll talk at council about it.
As it goes.
As it goes.
No. Thanks.
My name's Brian Bridge. My wife is Trish and myself moved to Wattle Grove
Close this down. Sorry. What do I do? Oh, sorry. Okay, again, Brian Bridge, my wife Trish and I moved to Wattle Grove, Morton Court 9 and a bit years ago, from 46 years in Kingsgrove. Okay, I'm not used to public speaking. Can you hear me now? Okay, fine. No? I'll stand up and put in your ears out.
Try this one.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hey, it's good. Okay, let me start again. My name is Brian Brett, and my wife Trish and I moved to Wattle Grove 9 and a bit years ago, after 46 years in Kingsgrove. Lovely little place to live, clean, tidy, everything about it, until Moorebank Avenue started. Now, it's been going for years. We're both asthmatics. We cop all the dust you wouldn't believe. This is a favour I'm asking you rather than anything else. You've got rangers working. Would it be possible for occasionally you drive along, make sure that these guys are using their water trucks to keep the dust down, because it's got past the joke. I don't know.
At the intermodal?
Yes, the intermodal, yeah, obviously. I mean, we can't do anything about it, but they can keep the dust down a bit, I'm sure. And I'm sure there's probably other people here at Wattle Grove that are in the same position as us, and it doesn't look like finishing for a few years. We've got to try and outlast them. Okay, that's it.
Can I ask, are many people getting a lot of dust from, have you noticed any different?
Well, their neighbours are, and
yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a request, maybe if the ranger could go along occasionally, just check that they've got the watering carts going and look at the dustbins.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Okay?
No, thank you, Ron. I think we're hearing we need a bit more dedicated compliance to this area.
Thank you. I was going to talk about feral cats, but it seems pretty mean now after all the...
No, we spent an hour in Green Valley about cats, so, right?
I'll give the cats a miss. Thank you.
My name's Astra Staines. I'm a long-term resident of Liverpool, like about 50 odd years. I live in Hammondville at the moment. I'd like to congratulate Council for a change on the really great program that they've been running for seniors at Lanier Community Hub, which includes a lot of different activities like a gentle exercise class, yoga, tai chi, dance, art classes, as well as talks on nutrition, pain management and topics like that. We have 80 members from diverse backgrounds from all over Liverpool, and many of those normally spend most of their time at home alone, and it has made a real big difference to their lives. It's a very much needed initiative, which really fills a gap for seniors in our area. And we're very concerned that the future of the group is a bit uncertain due to the funding issues. As far as we know, they still don't have funding for next year. And we feel it's absolutely vital that ongoing funding should be provided to continue the program, because it does have great benefits for the community. To carry on a little bit from there, I think it would be good if Council would consider providing a concession for seniors for parking in the CBD, because the present system is very expensive. It cost me the other day $10 to park in the Warren car park for the council meeting, and I think that's a bit rough, quite frankly. I think you should be able to do better than that. And it also discourages a lot of people from coming to Liverpool for shopping. So this is something that needs to be thought about. As a a footnote to what was being said about that medical centre at Hammondville. I believe that what needs to happen immediately is a no parking zone at the end of the streets, Brady Avenue, the one behind, and Meehan Avenue, the one opposite, because they are parking on both sides of those streets. And the result of that is there is only one lane left, and you cannot see, if you're trying to turn left or right into Walter Road, you cannot see the traffic that's coming up Walter Road and trying to turn into yours. So I've had a few near misses like that, and it is really dangerous. So until they get that car park built, and they've only just done the foundation, so it's going to be a hell of a long time yet, something needs to happen about the parking.
What was the intersection again? Whereabouts?
Well, mine is Brady Avenue and Walter Road. It needs to be about the last 20 metres or so between Pritchard Avenue and Walter Road, on the south side of Brady Avenue. That's what they need, a no parking zone in that bit. And I would think probably the other side in Meehan Avenue also.
Could you give that to Mahavir, the gentleman over there? He's from our traffic department.
Okay.
You can give him the specific details, please.
If I may add just to that point, but again, around that particular area of Walter Road,
we've not only had the medical centre development, we've also had development approval for childcare centres, for health consulting rooms for, I believe it's a physiotherapist. So again, and they're all claiming the on-street the on-street parking as part of their own, as being available to them as part of their development approval process. And there's only so many cars you can fit in a parking spot, like at any given time. So again, I think that needs to be taken into account. Is not just an individual siloed view, but a whole of outcome view on these matters, particularly when there are concurrent applications going on at once in the same area. Thank you.
If you can give us the details of those applications. And
most of them have been approved now. They're just dealing with the consequences.
Batteries?
So just make sure you go up to the traffic manager up there, and we've got a traffic committee meeting coming up. Okay.
Just on the issue of, if I can respond to Ashley, thank you for coming to council on Wednesday and sharing a lot of that with us and bringing it here again. I think where we resolved when we first got re-elected last year to redo our car parks. So if you look at, obviously Liverpool has grown. The car parks, we have Northumberland Street car park in front of Centrelink, the multi-story one. It has no lifts. It's falling apart. Doesn't feel good to be there. And it's definitely done its time. So we resolved, let's redo that car park. We said we want to increase the amount of parking spots in Liverpool CBD by 500 parking spots. When they do get replaced, they should all be with a boom gate, right? With, I would say, at least 1 hour free, right? And like Westfield, when you leave, you pay some money out of it, right? That's in a simplistic term. Versus, oh, I get a ticket and then I've been here for an hour, I need to run back. But it's not good for shopping. You wouldn't go shopping there the way that it's structured as well. Bathurst Street, that's almost 2 acres of land in the CBD that's just there. Something needs to be done with it. And if we do it smartly, council has to use its assets better, because if they're generating income and positively and delivering a community benefit, then that's less money we need from rates. And that's what we have to do. And at the moment, there has not been that commercial thinking. So we look at it, we can use our property for purpose. It can win, it's a win-win. So we now have someone in council, our property manager is now looking at that stuff and doing it. But that's going to take, in reality, 4 years before we bear the fruits. We bear the fruits of it. We'll look at it. I think our biggest concern at the moment is when the new building opens up at the new library. The new library is opening up on Sunday. So how that actually works. Yes. Free parking.
we asked for free parking. I think they would
Jason,
have had it done by.
Yes.
In regard to the CBD, the garbage bins all around the place, do they ever get cleaned, washed, and especially the surrounds? Because when you walk past those garbage bins, mate, it makes your eyes water.
Yeah, I mean, the CBD team, well, obviously they're a dedicated group working out of just up behind the council chambers with the street sweepers. We'll certainly have a look. One thing, the real challenge, yes, they do get cleaned, and the surrounds, it's the cadence of which they get around to doing everything all the time, but absolutely certain to look at how we better perform in any kind of maintenance or cleaning activity. One of the challenges for council historically is 3 or 4 different directorates owned cleaning. Yep. So cleaning of a childcare centre was with Tina Bono, cleaning of a toilet block at a park was with CP, cleaning of infrastructure was with INO. So that's changed. So I'm in charge of cleaning, so I'm fully responsible for cleaning. Okay, so as of now, so we're looking at better ways of scheduling that work, because obviously the minute you clean, sometimes you'll clean. Only just today I've got a request opposite Jamel to put in a street bin. I got the request at 11 o'clock, the bin's going in before Friday. Okay, so when I find out about these things, I usually pick up on them pretty quickly.
And if I can just say, so that you had this very silo mentality within the organisation, this is stuff that no one sees, but for us, as we've been digging through the problems, this is what we've been coming up with. Now, with the new mentality, so Jason started pretty much, January?
January the
as an
1st, Mr. Mayor.
As an acting capacity, and then was appointed to the position in, I think, June or July, officially.
Does that mean the weekend crews actually empty the bins as they do their rounds?
Yeah, look, the weekend crews, well, there's a typical weekend crew every weekend, plus there's the event crews, which had a different cleaning regime. And you've only got to look at the oil on the pavers in the mall, for example, right?
Just general around Wattle Grove suburb,
yeah.
I'm finding bins that have not been emptied for up to 3 weeks.
Well, I'm happy you told me that, because I didn't know that before you just told me, okay? So when I'm aware of those things, we'll absolutely look at Wattle Grove bins.
Thank you.
So we're, at the moment, just to know, the changes that Jason have brought in, or is being rolled out at the moment, one of them is telemetrics. So effectively, now we have over 300 vehicles out and about. Now you'll be able to see on a screen exactly where they are, what they're doing, when the engine is revving, is the vehicle safe, when the grass is being cut. And then you can actually, it will be able to tell you if you've missed something. You know, if you look at a shopping centre, when they clean a bin, they go and tap on. That's why the system knows that it's done. We don't have that system, right? We don't even know at the depot who's actually working. It's all paper-based, right? The ability, just to get the thumbprint, when you log on to work, press a thumbprint, it's taken 9 months?
9 months.
9 months through procurement for a $3,000 machine.
Yep, so look, there's some really good...
Jason had hair before he started.
Yeah, had a red mullet when I used to run around Liverpool in the day. There's a lot of system stuff. I actually believe we've got a very, very good team. The basics of it is, we just don't know it. And we don't know it because we don't measure it. Okay? So we don't measure our performance. So I've put in some work on the 20th of December, telematics, which is just a GPS system, right? Telematics goes live. If I look at a park, I can see the mow patterns, and so will you, the mow patterns of the mower going up and down Hammondville Park, right? You'll be able to see that live. You'll see in 4 different coded colours, primary colours. If anybody got onto an Uber screen, or if you booked an Uber, or you've seen these cars move around, that's what you'll see from council. Okay? And so these kind of systems we're going to put in, and I'm going to prove whether we are good or we're not as good and we need to get better.
So at least now with the information, so that will allow, Jason can see what's going on, Matt and all of his team. When you ring up customer service, say, there's rubbish been dumped here, customer service will be able to see on the screen, there is a vehicle nearby, and give the job dispatcher directly to that vehicle, and to give you a better level of service, go out there and clean it up quickly. And ideally, we want the community to be able to see that live as well. That's what we're building towards.
with customer service, you put in a request and I give you a request number. Then when you go back a bit later, put in your request to see my request, you put in that number. Guess what? Nothing. You can't go back to that. It just doesn't appear. You've lost a request and there's no comeback whether it's been done or not. There's no answer, we're going to do it. It's been denied or whatever.
And that's ideally, once again, something else. I'll get to Michelle if you want to comment. But if
You've got to give it back sometime tonight.
There's just one announcement I would like to make for everyone to know, and that is Anzac Road construction zone has been demolished. It's gone, and the bridge will be opened on Friday, I believe, with everything intact, and the new bridge, 1,000 year bridge, capable of carrying 16 tonnes of weight for a footbridge.
It's good. Thinking of the future.
And council didn't pay for it.
No, we didn't pay for it. No, that wasn't us. But on what we want to see from customer service, I'd rather us over communicate. For example, why don't we send you, once you report it, we should send you a text message along every stage. It's yes, we received it. Yes, it's being dealt with. Yes, it's going on. It can be some.
No more phone calls.
Yeah.
People wanting to know what,
Yeah.
and all your phone calls will diminish by 9%.
So I'll have it on Michelle, but to do something like that, to get a $3,000 scanner through procurement and all the processes took 9 months, and I had to go because Jason comes in, he was about to go buy it on his credit card and just put it in there. That's how. But unfortunately, there's a lot of red tape. Fortunately and unfortunately, there's a lot of red tape with how things go. But I'll hand over to Michelle.
Thanks so much for your feedback. So I've been in council for 6 months, and so one of the things the council has done is really focused on customer experience and customer service. So not just taking the call, but who follows up on that call and how we respond to that. So what we hadn't done in the past is tracked in the organisation how we're responding to those questions or those requests. So now every week we give feedback to each of our colleague directors and say, you have X number of requests, this is how many are outstanding, can you please respond to those? So that's the cycle that we're starting to get in after the last couple of months, with improvements around how we help the different areas, like Noelle's, to actually respond timely to those requests. So we've got systems in place. You should hear back from someone. It might not be the customer service representative, but it might be someone from Noelle's team or from Jason's team, but that loop we're starting to try and implement across the organisation.
This is just a request online, so I'll be quite happy to look up my number, say it's attended to, it's denied or whatever.
Yep.
Simple.
And the reason why we changed the organizational structure and put a director of customer service is, as an executive leadership team, the 6 directors and the CEO, they're meeting weekly basis. And ideally what we want is that when customer service was buried in the organization, it's like, well, it's just another manager, right? But now it's Michelle's job to go there within ELT and to say, hold on, well, here are the issues that people are talking about. We need to do something about it. Trees, well, we know we're getting a lot more trees, and a lot more tree phone calls are going through the roof, and we need resourcing to get out there. So, but if we don't hear about that, we don't react to it, and the problem just keeps on going and going. So that's ideally what we're trying to refocus that organization on. So in a little bit of a while, I won't say when, but it will be getting significantly better, but it will definitely be.
Well, one more issue. Ownership of Anzac Road and the upgrade. It's the council, state government, federal government that are involved in that. Can they do the same sort of split what they do if the childcare centres, like 60% federal, 30% state and 10% council, and get that road fixed?
Have a chat with Jenny, have a chat with Tina and Joanne, and we'll put in and we'll be right.
I'm sure you'll be able to get on to Tina, but don't know about Jenny.
Yeah, but have you brought it up with Jenny?
Sorry?
Have you brought it up with Jenny Ware?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've sent an email to her, to you and to Tina, and no reply from any of you, other than, we received the email.
Yeah. We're not getting, if you look at what's happened federally at the moment, last week was it? Or not last Friday, the Friday before, they cut hundreds of millions of dollars from the infrastructure budget. So they cut off the M12, M7 infrastructure, the interchange. So we're building this great new airport, and now there's no connection, or there's going to be a connection because the state's going to have to pay for it. But on top of that, it was $15 million they cut to investigate the roads around the new airport. That's now been cut. So it's like, so we're going to be going in a position where infrastructure spending is, the brakes are being put on. So to try to get money, I'm not being political, but we're not getting traction from the feds on infrastructure issues.
Do those cuts go the M5?
No, that's Survive.
That's funded.
That's Survive at the moment. At the moment. Yeah. Have they any idea when they're starting?
Now I know the project manager personally, and they're gangbusters going ahead. So I don't know the timeframes around it. I got asked a couple of questions about the remediation underneath the bridges that's fallen away through the flooding. We just got a stack of money to fix that up. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you with the 3 floods we had last year in 6 months, there was Powerhouse Road. If you going to the Casula Powerhouse, the road eroded there, and you see the traffic lights. Just to fix that is we got $8 million, which was good from the state on that. And what do we have? I think there's another. We're putting a couple mil.
Yeah, we'll do it for that.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
As long as the prices don't go up, we should be right.
Yeah. So that's one little bit that we've had to deal with. Yeah. So yeah. It's good. Yeah. I'll go. There's a lady over there.
I just wanted to first say something about the roundabout on New Warra Road. I've noticed that it's impacting traffic because people are stopping there. Then I've read that also trucks will be diverted from New Warra Road. I'd like to know where they're going to be diverted to. And if it's Moorebank Avenue, we've already got issues trying to get home from Liverpool on Moorebank Avenue because one lane is supposed to go into, divide into 2 lanes to turn onto the M5, but they're blocking all the lanes trying to cut in. And I have been stuck there for 30 minutes trying to get over the M5 to get home. So I want to know where these trucks are going to be diverted to if they're not going on New Warra Road anymore.
Sorry, 30 minutes coming from what direction were you
From Liverpool
Yeah.
along Moorebank Avenue to cross over the M5 to get onto Anzac Road to come home. So that's one of my issues. Another issue is I'm pretty fed up with getting parking fines. We've got nature strips that are actually mud patches that could be cut into to make parking. We've got footpaths with grass that could be cut into to make parking because we're all parking on the so-called footpath and nature strip, and council a few years back sent us all letters. We can't do that. Yet we blocked the garbage truck. I have videos of it took me about 3 minutes. I've got 4 cars coming in a dead-end street. It took me about 4 minutes to try and get into my driveway because all the cars are blocking in, yet we're parked on a footpath. The roads are as big as footpaths, and it's just not good enough for council to send us letters, no, you have to park properly. They didn't take into consideration, when I built my house and I asked council, can I build a bigger driveway? I'm on a corner block. Can I go in and out driveway? I have sons. I know they're going to be driving. My husband and I are driving. We're going to need 4 cars. We're going to have to put 4 cars somewhere in the future. God gave me another one, 5 cars. Now, where are we going to put 5 cars? I can't build a car park on my roof. But, you know, this is ridiculous. The parking in the streets is ridiculous. And trees. Trees have damaged so many footpaths. They're sticking up. Council comes along, puts a bit of tar on it, and they look like mountains when you walk on them. And the trees they've gone into my yard. They've broken my retaining wall. I don't know if they're in my piping yet, but and I don't want to complain to council because I had my cousin complaining to council. She's got the trees over her fence, onto her roof, and council apparently can't cut them. She can, but if they fall, you guys won't cover the insurance. Like tree issues, I love trees. We all love trees. We all love greenery, but make it safe and don't block people's gutters. Don't ruin people's retaining walls. Don't ruin the footpaths that we have to walk on, and just slap them with a bit of a band-aid and say, okay, you can walk on the mountain, you know. My grandchildren have to take on the road because I can't let them ride the scooter to the park on a footpath. And lighting for this main road here. I see people taking their dogs for a walk with torches. That's it.
I'll let Jason talk about the tree for a second.
Yeah, I'm really happy to take personal details about trees. It is an important subject, and there's a lot of actually, it's funny with trees, people want them cut down and other people want them more trees, and trees are very emotional subjects in Liverpool City Council. Just recently, some of the trees that are on council land, we have a team of arborists who are a really crack team who actually understand trees. Now, you would have seen on the news about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago during the windstorm where allegedly a tree that some person complained about fell down on their house. Did anybody hear that story? Anyway, that wasn't true, okay? There are 4 trees right behind the person's house on council property, and another tree about 10 metres away fell onto the 4 trees that we wouldn't cut down and save those people from being probably killed. Okay, so it's the trees we didn't cut down that actually saved. My message is this, is that when we talk about trees, we will absolutely attend because we know we are liable, okay? There's no secret. We've got some problems with trees. So when you say you don't want to complain, I want to hear your complaint. Come and see me afterwards.
I complained about a tree on George Street.
Yep.
Because my son parked there on a Saturday morning to go get a haircut. Brand new Navara, brand spanking 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
The trees that are in front of the school got 30 metres high. A couple of branches fell. They weren't very thick and they dinged his whole bonnet. Apparently council wasn't liable for that. I'd have a big
Yeah, look, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get into a legal argument. All I'll say is when we get trees, and you were talking about a danger to the public or kids, or let us know. Let us know. They can't. Once you complain or once you put a customer request, I can't avoid it. So let me know. Happy to speak after the forum about your own tree, and I'll pay special attention to your tree.
How many trees do we have again, Matt? Yeah, it's a lot of trees, and that's what's that gets down to how many. Yeah, what can we get out there? We're looking at our tree policy at the moment, because I had a gentleman from Wattle Grove contact me saying my solar system's not working because I've got things. Oh yeah, sorry. There you go. How you going? It's happening. It's happening.
Still in the dark. I shade.
The shade. So we want solar panels and we want trees, but then when the trees block the solar panels, we can't chop the trees or chop the branches. Selective pruning. So our policy is going to be updated to allow that to happen.
Like that ibis tree.
Right?
Yes.
Blocking solar panels.
Let's selectively
bird in there, that fixes it up.
So yeah, we're looking at that. It's never going to be perfect. I can tell you that now because if you drive down, I go to in Wallara. There's a street. I think it's Ocean Street. It's got humongous plane trees that just they cover the whole road, and it's really nice. But all the footpaths are just all over the place. But that's where you give them precedent. So they assess it. On the issue of fines, this has been an interesting one that we've always had. So, under the Australian road rules, you're not allowed to park on the verge, right? You have to have the 4 wheels down. And the purpose of that is, you shouldn't be blocking a footpath. Now, Parramatta Council has a policy in place that says, and this was here when I was the mayor last time, that said, if it's a narrow street and you do put 2 wheels up on the verge, and as long as you're not blocking a footpath, we'll fine you. That was the parking policy. I tried to put that into council. I was told it was illegal, so we couldn't do it. All right. Last year, or this year, let's look at this again. Parramatta Council's still doing it. And I said, well, if Parramatta's doing it, why can't we do it? And a bit of argy-bargy, and effectively I said to him, if we will sue Parramatta Council just to find out and actually get some proper case law on it. I've now been told that we can do it. We did put it on exhibition, saying that it can happen. In that process, there were some issues that were valid issues that were raised, i.e., you don't want someone parking on your lawn ripping up your grass, right? And because ultimately everyone looks after that land, and we don't look after it. So how do we prevent that? So we're looking at that. Some people have their stormwater pipes on their roofs, and if someone goes over it, they'll break them, and then what happens? So there are a couple little things in there, and legal's coming back and saying that it's not necessarily legal, so we're working through that because, yeah, just don't park yet because someone announced, oh, we've changed the policy. The policy's not changed. It's still in draft. It's not come into effect yet, but we're working on it because we agree 100%. The issue of doing the indented bays, so that was a policy the last council adopted, and that's being rolled out. There's a couple $100,000 every year to do that, but there's only so much you can do in a year. So it's not going to solve the whole problem.
Can they give out warnings before filing?
That's something we could put into the policy, I say, that would do that. Yeah, and that's what that letter is supposed to be. Ultimately, usually what happens is that someone who's made a complaint, or people are parking on the verge, council has to take action. We send everyone a letter saying, oh, you don't do this, or we will fine you. Then if a year later, someone who's moved in, hasn't got the letter, they get a fine. Yeah, or whenever it happens. That's what it is. Just on the issue, I'll get to just on the issue of Moorebank Avenue and New Orr Road. So, cutting a long story short, the roundabout was put in, right? We wanted a set of lights there. New Orr Road is at capacity. You can see it during peak. We resolved to look at how do we make it into at least 2 lanes heading south at a bare minimum. So that's being investigated as we speak. It's almost enough room all over the place. And I think that needs to go from at least brickmakers, because everything obviously brickmakers blocks up as well. The issue, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but putting the road limit, ultimately, it's trucks on New Orr or trucks on Moorebank Avenue. Moorebank Avenue is built for it more than what New Orr Avenue is, and that's why the tonnage limit was put on there. And I'll pass on to the Deputy Mayor to speak about it.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, look, I understand your question, definitely. The National Heavy Vehicle Regulator sets out where trucks should go, and according to them, trucks should go on Moorebank Avenue and on Henry Lawson Drive to access the M5. So they shouldn't go on New Orr Road. And I understand that does put other traffic onto both of those roads. Nonetheless, New Orr Road is a local road. At one end, it's got a 3-tonne limit. At the other end, on Anzac Road and coming in here, it's got a 5-tonne limit. So, it makes sense to put Brickmakers has got a limit. So to stop that rat run straight down New Orr Road, chocking it up more, it was thought that, we've had plenty of representation to take the trucks off that road as well. So I understand they need to go somewhere, but those 2 other roads are more appropriate than sending them down New Orr Road. And we've had plenty of representation to get them off there, and that's what we've pursued. So we are partway through that process. It now sits with the Department Transport for New South Wales. We've done community consultation and had a lot of feedback in the positive sense of taking trucks off that road. So hopefully that will come through quite soon. The Transport New South Wales, they designate the heavy vehicle routes. The heavy vehicle routes are Newbridge, the Hume Highway, Moorebank Avenue, Anzac Avenue, and Anzac, Henry Lawson. Yes, Henry Lawson. They're supposed to come along Henry Lawson, Newbridge Road. They can come across there. They can come across the Newbridge and Governor Macquarie Drive. That was the one that we were thinking of. Those roads are built differently. They're built stronger. They can take the heavy vehicles. Our local roads cannot. New Orr Road is one road that isn't necessarily built to carry the heavy vehicles, and yet on the way over here, yep, there was one of the big trailers. They're still doing it, and that's the difficulty. There is nobody that actually polices that, and the drivers take the shortest route, the possible route that they can get to get where they're going. So, although we've now got our designated roads, which changed from New Orr, because New Orr was once the designated road, they're still coming down there. Our problem is that it's not policed. And for as long as it's not policed, for as long as there is no way of actually enforcing and capturing those people that are still doing the wrong thing, we're going to always have a problem.
It's not even signposted.
It's not approved yet. Exactly. It's not through yet.
No, that's what I said. Is we've done community consultation, but it's not through yet. So once that's through, the signage will go up. Yeah.
Fiona, there's a big difference though in the...
Okay. Thank you for giving me opportunity to express myself. Some of the points that I like to make already been preempted. One was for National Park Reserve. Okay. Another thing for a tree. About more than 2 months, I put application in the council for 2 trees to be trimmed for a cut off. So far, nothing has been done. The another thing is intersection from the Mobank Avenue, Anzac. Are the council going to guarantee that Anzac Drive will be just for the resident, or they will be used by a heavy truck that delivering the goods to the shopping center here? Because a lot of time truck is coming here. And that's supposed to be street just for the residents. And that's a council obligation to do that. But another thing is now, from the corner of the Mobank to the traffic lights, where is the fiber, for both sides of the road, they are industrial property. That means you cannot stop them from using the truck for delivering goods or a tightening thing. But from the traffic lights, this way supposed to be our street, not somebody else. Is the council going to take any care of doing that? And another thing that's hypothetical, is the council being involved for the decision they trying to be made from the new airport, not through the Liverpool, but go to Parramatta?
Which one? The train.
That's a hypothetical question, not necessary that you need to answer, but for the Anzac Road, I like to have some answer.
All right. I'll go on the issue of trees.
Yeah.
Once again, it's about how our ability to respond as the issues come in, especially with that windstorm. There was 170 call-outs. I think yeah.
It's more than 2 months, and nobody even contacted.
Yeah. So if you can just tell Matt, right next to the gentleman next to you,
Yeah.
he'll make sure it gets done.
I'm going to give him a headache that nail.
Yeah. And Anzac Road, you can speak to Mahavir next to you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Right. But ultimately, what we need to be working on is when someone puts a customer service request in, there should be communication about where you are in the queue, what's going on. So
My point was regulation of Anzac. From the traffic light where is fiber to the intersection with the Wattle Grove?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Look, I understand completely what you're saying as well, having quite a passion for the right vehicles on the right roads. You're correct that, trucks entering into those factories at the end of Anzac Road are permitted to use that road there, where if you're going, my understanding is if you're going to a business along the road, you're allowed to use that road, but not past that area there that you're talking about. So, we've often floated the idea of how we can monitor traffic ourselves, but putting cameras up and things like that is not under council's jurisdiction. So we can lobby to get that monitored, but my understanding is that we can't enforce that from a council level. We can certainly ask for it to be enforced with cameras and things like that, but that's not something we unfortunately have the power to do.
It is something we're passionate about and we are trying, and if we did get cameras, it would certainly be a way of controlling, because the fact is, the damage that is done to our local roads by our heavy vehicles, that's a cost to ratepayers. It's a cost to you. You're paying for it. Is that fair? No, it's not.
Just on the issue, you can see we have there's a sort of day-to-day back to basics focus, but there's also the bigger issues that we have in the area, and traffic is no doubt going to be an issue that's only going to get worse and worse and worse. 20,000 people a year move into Southwest Sydney. When I say Southwest Sydney, Fairfield, Liverpool, Camden, Campbelltown, Wallandilly. So besides pretty much Fairfield has a small amount of growth. They've got 2,000 people a year. So you can say 18,000 people are going down, and we'll probably have to use the M5, right? So anything that gets approved in Camden, Wallandilly adds traffic to us. And the only solution is about building more metros, building more train lines. If they want to have the growth, which we need, ultimately, people need somewhere to live. Our kids need somewhere. We know the issue with the housing prices, but they've got to provide the infrastructure with it as well. There are some things that, so you're going to hear us talking a lot about that stuff. The thing that we can get in the short term, which I think is going to benefit everyone, sorry, before I get to that, Voyager Point the other day, it's like bus routes. You know, they need better bus routes that work, brings them to Wattle Grove, brings them to Holsworthy Station. There are simple things that can happen. The metro train line, and Jason used to work in metros, so he knows it quite well, but the Bankstown Metro to Sydney will open up in 2 years' time. It's operational, it's under construction, it's ready to go. Now, if we can run an express service from Liverpool to Bankstown and you change and hop on the metro, that means Liverpool Station, which is 1 hour to the city at the moment, will go down to probably 39 minutes. So what does that mean for Holsworthy? At the moment, everyone from the west of Liverpool is driving to Holsworthy Station, parking and going, because it's a better ride, it's quicker, even though you still have to drive here, and you can't really park at Liverpool Station. But a lot of people are doing that journey at the moment. But if we can get Liverpool Station running much quicker, then that will hopefully take pressure off of us here. And that's something we can get done. Once again, it doesn't really need much money from the government to spend. It's just a matter of doing it. And it can happen in a couple of years' time. So we're going to be speaking about that. But on the issue, Jim, about running the train line from the airport, we definitely need a train line from the airport. The Glenfield line, Leppington line needs to be extended to the airport at a bare minimum. And the one from Parramatta, which would pick up Austral, needs to go. If you want to see traffic, come to 15th Avenue in the morning. It's still a 2-lane road from a road from the farmers, and the 3-kilometre traffic jams there. And it's a $500 million upgrade, which there's $50 million towards. And it's just getting worse and worse. And Cow Pasture Road, everyone from Camden Way, they're all trying to get onto the M7. And that road is just getting busier and busier every single day. So we need to be very vocal about this significant infrastructure.
I'm Patricia Miners, and I've been a resident of Wattle Grove for 25 years. I'm Patricia Miners, and I've been a resident of Wattle Grove for 25 years. And Astor was speaking earlier about the Lanier Senior Social Group. And I was wondering, would Council consider having something similar here at the community centre at Wattle Grove? And that would accommodate the seniors from Hammondville, Wattle Grove and Moorebank. I did check out the one at Lanier. It sounded really terrific, but as I don't drive anymore, and a lot of us seniors don't drive anymore, it would take us 2 buses to get to Lanier. And I'm sure we could get 80 seniors here on a regular basis if we had those facilities. It sounded really great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia, and very valid points. And we'll look into what the cost of and what does that look like. In a perfect world, we'd be looking at the demographics and seeing, well, if people are aging and i.e. not driving as much anymore, you'd provide that. We have the buildings for it. Just finding a bit of finding some money to do it. But it's about, once again, what sort of community do we want to live in? And if it's something small, we should be able to do it. We rolled out our Family Fun Days, which is a new initiative we're doing. First Saturday of every month. We had our first one at Wattle Grove a few months ago. Basically, it costs us probably, was it $17,000 for the day, but you had probably over 1,000 people turning up, kids running around. I've never seen kids behave that much because they're standing for 45 minutes and waiting for face painting. It's like amazing. We now have 4 face painters that I'm on. So that's the first Saturday of every month going on. And that's purely about just giving families something to do, you know what I mean? Because we don't have much to go around in this area. But looking at something to do for seniors is, I think, where we'll look into what we can do there.
It's about working in partnership, whether it be with Women's Health Centre in Liverpool,
South West Sydney Local Health District. We have the age team with schools prevention, things like that. So it's like exploring those kinds of collaborative partnerships that we can all work together.
Hi, my name is Robin Harland and I've lived here at Wattle Grove for 30 years. Talking about traffic cameras, that just this morning we noticed that there's a traffic monitor camera between Delphin Drive and Moorebank Avenue on both sides of the road. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. My concern is the traffic at the school on Australis. Is it a police or a council concern of a morning that the cars are parking where it's no standing? They're letting their children out on the driver's side of the car and they're just crossing over the median strip, not going up to the pedestrian crossing. And also my husband and I witnessed a mother put a little boy out on the roundabout. Yes, that is right. She stopped at the roundabout, the door opened, he got out, and that's where she put him out. Is it a council problem or a police problem? Should we get onto the police or?
Yeah, we look after the parking side of things, and we can issue infringements for that, and we do from time to time going around. I think we've got 60 schools approximately in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And the rangers are out there in the morning finding people. We work with the schools. There's a traffic, what's the position? Actually, a traffic officer who works directly with schools to communicate, tell them and remind the parents. Ultimately, if people are going to be idiots and not use common sense, yeah, it's hard to monitor.
So should I get on to the Liverpool Police Department and ask them to send a car
but
down?
don't call the station. Call the police assistance number.
Okay.
Because that's when they act upon it and they give you a number, and it gives the police the resources to say, oh, well, something's going on in this area.
Okay.
So if you ever have a problem, the way policing, and Jason also used to be detective inspector as well, on top of running metro trains, right? He's also a soccer coach, so he wears many hats. Do you want to comment on?
Look, yeah, do the police assistance line. The only way the police will move is on data, statistics. If everybody in this room rang the police assistance line about Anzac Avenue, the police would have no choice but to send the highway patrol down there to do a heavy vehicle enforcement, because you've got the data. Yeah. If we whinge to each other and they have no data, I complain all the time. I hear people complain all the time about Warren Serviceway and unsavoury behaviour in Big Park. And Adam White, the police, he laughs at me. Show me the numbers, Jace.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, anyway.
Yeah, do the whole calls.
On the matter of the illegal parking and what the traffic jams and the frustrations, people are being hit. We had a ranger that was actually punched down there due to all the frustrations of people trying to drop their children at schools. But what we're doing at the traffic committee, I don't know exactly where it was. I remember it being, but what we are doing in the traffic committee, and we keep bringing it up, whenever we come across a school that's putting in a new development application, we're saying that they should have their drop off and pick up in the school ground. They shouldn't be using our local roads as their car park. That's wrong. And from a council perspective, we keep on asking for that. We've written letters to the Department of Education and the State Planning, and we will continue to do that because it just cannot go on. Liverpool doesn't have enough rangers to be able to have somebody go around to all of our schools at exactly the same time at drop-off and pick-up time. So really, the solution is it is a part of their service. They should have it included within their property boundary, not on our local roads.
May I bring?
No? Oh, yep, sorry. Go ahead and I'll get it.
Sorry. I would like to thank you all first for having this forum and for listening to us. It's extremely important, I think, and it's great that finally someone is doing that, and the mayor for being so present everywhere and giving updates on everything he's doing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Also, I find great your community building exercises that you are doing with the fun days and all the great events that you are organizing. I think it's absolutely important and it's wonderful. Yes, we have so much going on and so many problems, but it's very important to point out the good things as well, not just what's going wrong. And things are moving, and as you said, there's funding coming to improve things. But that goes back to maintenance as well. We've been living here for the last 30 years, and we've seen many things done up, beautifully spruced up, and in no time, lack of maintenance comes in, it gets ruined, nothing is left, you start again. How can that be prevented? There's so much waste going on in this regard, whether it is, whether it's building, whether it's parks, whether plantings, it's just, there's a huge amount of that.
Thank you for the question. Again, let's look at the data. We've got right at the moment as we sit here, $3 billion worth of assets that I manage. By 2030, that'd be $7 billion worth of assets that I manage. One of the assets is one of the things we've never done with our assets is, believe it or not, is to map them. I've introduced a new system through council only months ago. The system is called Brightly. You can Google that. And what it does, we map our assets right across the local government area, which will give us predictive and reactive maintenance schedules based on the asset. Again, if you remember what I said before about we don't know what we do, we're now starting to find out what we do, because one beautiful gift we'll get at Aerotropolis and Bradfield and the airport is a lot of people will start to give council stuff, right? They'll say, here's a bit of grass, here's a road, here's a park, here's a footpath, and it'll be beautiful. The problem is we've got to maintain it in perpetuity, forever. So we've got this brand new system we're putting into place. We've got a team working on the system. Councillors are aware of it, and by the end of financial year, we'll have mapped every single asset we have, whether that's a toilet block, a road, a footpath, a park. Not Matt's trees. Matt wanted every tree mapped, but I can't do that yet. But every single solid asset you see will be mapped. When that asset condition is poor, we will know about it. We will know about it.
But before it gets to poor?
Correct. Well, what happens is you have a life cycle. So if I build that air conditioner behind you, I know that Mitsubishi has given me 3 years life cycle, it'll work, and every 6 months I've got to change the filter. Yeah. So on every single asset, whether it's a pathway, and we've got predictive pothole, artificial intelligence coming in. Okay, so we're going to understand what our asset mix is, when's the optimum time to renew it or repair it. Okay?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Green areas as well, just how it is maintained. Everything gets planted out, and these are the wrong plants. You see every time it's pulled up again, replanted, pulled up again, replanted, planted at the wrong time. Who plants in the middle of summer? Things like this are happening all the time, which shouldn't. If we haven't learned in I don't know how many years which plants are going to survive, are not going to obstruct you and plant them in a pretty way that it doesn't require too much maintenance, when are we going to learn? There is something probably that can be done in that department. Someone is not steering things the right way.
Yep. Agree.
100%. So on that, that's why in the structure that we did, you had the person who was building stuff and designing stuff, not talking to the person who maintains stuff, right? Now that one person is Jason and his team. So now when his team is designing something, right, the infrastructure side, they're talking to Matt because Matt has to maintain it. And they're giving feedback about what to plant, what's actually can be cut. So I'll give you an example. In Austral, we just opened up a detention basin, right? Great, wonderful, right? But it was designed in a way that it has to be hand pruned. You can't get machines in there. So that's a lot of the stuff that happened. New roads get built, nobody tells maintenance, hey, you have to look after this road. That's what was going on. These are the issues that we're finding, and then it's structurally how you fix them. Getting the right people, right? And then getting the right systems, getting the right technology in place. Things that are common sense have not really been applied. Not because of people don't want to. People have wanted to, but you need to have. There's always been this attitude about, oh, that's how we do things, so we just keep on doing it. Versus, how do we do it better?
The culture that you mentioned is just watching the maintenance crews, for example.
Yeah.
They have their set tasks, I understand that. But if they fall over a branch, they would not pick it up and put it on the truck. That cannot be addressed.
So if you ask me how I want it to go and what we're working towards is not too dissimilar to what we're doing with these community meetings, right? It's like if you want to eat an elephant, you do it one bite at a time. Liverpool is gigantic. When you drive from Sydney Harbour to get to Liverpool, that distance there, Liverpool is bigger than it. So now we had one depot on Rose Street. So imagine 300 vehicles, they start off on Rose Street and then they have to travel through all the traffic. Imagine how much inefficiencies you get on every vehicle. So we purchased, and then our mechanical workshop should be heritage listed. Yeah. Bob would have, back in your days, when you were at Sydney City Council, right? It's literally original condition. It doesn't comply with anything because when we had the floods on, the grass was growing so quickly, we couldn't go and cut it because the ground was still wet. And when the team finally cuts it, they'd have to go over it a couple of times. It was also ruining the machines, putting more strain on them, the belts were breaking. So we looked at what are we doing about this? And it turned out the mechanical workshop couldn't deal, wasn't fit for purpose. No one actually planned, hold on, we're getting, pretty much what Jason said. Hold on, how much maintenance do we have to do? How many more vehicles do we have? What capacity do we have? No thinking was going on. Anyway, we bought a new workshop on 600 Cow Pasture Road. It used to be the old Metrolink bus depot, right? Amazing facility. We can do our own rego on all our vehicles. It's state of the art and it's built already, and we purchased that the other day. So that will help make things better. What I would like us to go to, and we kind of have it here a little bit, is that, build a shed in one of our parks for our machinery, right, in this area that can service this area. So it's the same people. We already have a Wattle Grove crew, and they're probably one of our best crews. I reckon it's one of the best looking areas in Liverpool. But I'm keen for anyone's feedback. I haven't heard much about the team negatively yet today. But if you have a crew who takes ownership of the area and they have a general role, I say it all the time. You've cut the grass. We had this other day in Casula. You've cut the grass, but there's shopping trolleys there. Like, just deal with it. Pick it up and deal with it. They won't.
They still the mentality that we are here to do something.
They wouldn't.
No.
They wouldn't.
No, but it will change.
You can't say they won't anymore.
That would be great. And then also, going back to your community work, I think it is probably a great time that people communities and meetings come to Liverpool and looking better to re-educate slowly the people of Liverpool, to get community buy-in, to do something that people would actually care about the environment, take part in the environment. I listened to a few of these community forums, and I've heard this a number of times that people are actually talking about this very same thing, that they want their local community to get involved in their local environment, whatever they can help out. Can we work together on that?
Yeah, 100%. And look, can I say that we didn't have these meetings last year because the organization wasn't ready for them, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that we've had to clean up, and now we're pretty much at that point where it is getting towards the end of the cleanup, and we can now aim and progress and go forward. So ideally what we want to do is with these meetings, we want to have them frequently. So we'll be back here again, reporting back to you March, April next year, and saying, okay, how did we go? What's going on? I want every area to have a to-do list. Here's our to-do list, and we just work on it, right? And we tell you what's going on. We want to simplify everything. We want to make it easy. When we write letters, they're the most complicated letters, right, to understand, and we just want to make it simple, getting to the point. So that's what will start happening, and then we can start building on and hopefully progressing from there.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, so many ideas in this room and so much passion in this room. This is a little bit off topic, but you know, at council we do have a lot of community committees. You know, we have an environment committee, we have a CBD committee, we have lots of committees. So please, you know, keep an eye out on our website when we're calling for expressions of interest for committees, because there is a lot of passion in this room, and if you have some time and you'd like to be more involved, please do keep an eye out for that. It just struck me as we're all talking that, you know, there is, you know, there are people who have some capacity to give a little bit more time for the community and to build community. So, you know, keep an eye out for when that happens.
All our names that are on this community forum list to your database for that community liaison.
For the expressions of interest?
Yes.
You
You already have us all.
But you have to, if you want to be on a committee, what I'm saying is you need to, you know, apply to be on that. But please, you know, with all of this involvement, keep an eye out for that. If you have a particular interest, keep an eye out. And
there's a form to fill out?
There would be on the website. I'm just speaking completely off the cuff, and it's been a long time since I applied to be on a community committee, but we do have them. So when they're out, we'll make sure that you know about it. We'll put it on social media and stuff like that. But there's a lot of passion in the room. So please, you know, if you've got some time, have a look at that.
But not everybody has computers. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people don't have computers.
So I guess I don't know how we call for.
I'll tell you. Is everyone getting the newsletter that's coming into people's mailboxes? No? Nothing. Should be.
That's a good question.
A good question. Oh well. They should. No more local papers. Yeah, they're gone. So we're trying to do a quarterly newsletter. We ramped it with a lot more information on it. Yeah, that should be in your mailbox. So, yeah, so it's we'll look at how we make it getting there better. But it is a challenge. Without the local papers, it's made a big difference. And I just want to make one other point just on about when we build stuff and it looks good. So that gentleman over there, Keith, can you put your hand up over there? Keith actually builds the stuff in Liverpool, and is it February, he'll hit 30 years at Liverpool Council, right? So he's building the new synthetic fields at behind Moorebank Sports Club there, for as you can see. And we were having a discussion last week about saying, with our playgrounds, rather than just buy the basic stuff where that's colourful, we put them on there, and you know, let's look at changing it. How do we use more natural materials, stuff that ages better, that looks better for a long term? And that's a shift in our mentality of how we do it. You know, and saying, well, yeah, it may cost us a little bit more, so what means we do less parks, but we're doing better quality parks. It's that sort of trade-off, and we'll run that thing and do it, because ultimately, you know, Keith is very passionate about what he does, and it's about what money we give him, what ideas and direction. So his first time he's doing a synthetic field, first time in Liverpool, you know, and the clubs have been screaming out for it. When we had all the rain last year, the amount of kids' sport that was cancelled was massive. But then they go to us, but Fairfield has these, why don't we have them in Liverpool? So yes.
Yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is, like in the past, there is that phenomenal facility there. It's so underutilized, it's not funny. And there is nowhere to go in the whole of Liverpool if you don't want to go to the city for a music event or this or that, there's nowhere. Why can't we use that?
Yeah, well, it's pretty much open every day. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah. Yeah.
I go there when there is, but there is a lot more for seniors. There is something for seniors in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I can't go in the afternoon.
And then we get a big.
There's a few comedy events that there are very few things. I think it could be an absolute hub, cultural hub of Liverpool.
Yeah. We'll
Instead
get.
of just being a free gallery.
Yeah. No, we take it on. Yeah, we take it on. We spend a fair bit of money there, but we take it on board. That how do we utilize it better and get it more active? And in general, how do we get these facilities more active?
Yeah, I think maybe that I tried to talk to the director at one of the events. The staff is actually fabulous. The director is a little bit.
There's a new director. There's some new management coming in place there. So yes.
The director was very condescending. I think we need probably a different kind of approach.
Yeah, no, it's different. I think he's had his run, and now he's under 7 years service, and now we have to take it to a different direction. But thank you for your kind words as well before. I appreciate it. Sorry, ma'am. Is anyone coming to our seniors concert this week? Yes. Tomorrow? There's one tomorrow and Wednesday. Entertainment.
Can I just mention about the traffic on Lucas Avenue at Moorebank? The reason is the cars are parked on the side of the street is there's not enough room in New Warra Public School for all the teachers to park. So the street is lined both sides, way beyond Harvey Avenue. This, if you were to pass by at 10 o'clock in the day, you will see, you try to get through and you can't. You have an oncoming car because you have a car parked each side of the road. The roads are only narrow. Now when you come up New Harvey Avenue to the Liverpool Childcare Centre on the corner, I brought this up at a previous meeting, the parents let the children get the babies out of the car in the middle of the street. So remember, there's only 3 lanes of traffic. The cars are parked both sides, and then the babies get out. The mothers get the babies out. They don't drive underground. Now that's dangerous. They open that car door wide open. Well, the cars want to go 2 ways. They can't. You know, because the road is only wide for 3 lanes. So we need something done there. And when you pull down 4 houses and then put up, say, 78 units, just imagine all the cars. People have relatives to come and visit, but why aren't they driving underneath? Is it because they're too pressured to get to work? And they haven't got time to drive underneath it and get their children out and take them up to the ground level? But they all park in the streets all day. Both sides of the road in Harvey Avenue.
That's a new childcare centre on the corner.
Yeah, yes, and when they come round, they race around. It's frightening, absolutely frightening. And the hours of opening too vary. You know, I mean, they can take them there from 10 till 2 or something like that. So therefore, it's busy all the time.
Carol, we did take that up with you from the previous forum, and we do have traffic looking at the possibility of making it one way around certain schools, and we think that might make it a little safer than what it is currently. And so we've given that to traffic to come back to us and look at the possibilities of which schools would be advantaged by just having one way going around the ring roads of the schools. So watch this space.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I'm just mindful of time. That's one last thing because the staff have to get going. They've been at it since the morning. Happy to take anyone who wants to talk to councils. We can speak afterwards if you like.
No, I was just here. Actually, I was coming to give you credit for all the fun days, the community days. Lots of stuff got improved. George is my name. I've been living in Wattle Grove for the last 22 years. I got engaged in this hall, and I had my wedding reception in Liverpool and Railway Street. We appreciate all the business happening and the movement happening in Liverpool. I can see lots of improvement, lots of fun days that we don't have to travel outside Liverpool to go to. Especially I have 3 children. And actually I was just coming to say thank you, but there is few points that open up. I understand about the frustration of the warehouse, that 3M, but at the same time we need places like Deacon's and warehouses to work. And we don't have to travel to the city, so we don't have to rush and drop our kids in the middle of the roundabout to get to the city quickly. If we work local, I think we will avoid heaps of that. Also, I understand about the biking issue, but the school is already full capacity, lots of kids down there. Parents have to drop somewhere to keep going on their day to earn money, especially with all the stress that we're going through. Regarding the Rangers, I think Wattle Grove came a long way. I don't get the fear I used to have before when I drove my son to tutoring in the CBD, I'm going to get booked. This stuff start to ease, start to improve, especially the mental health and the stress that we're going through. We don't need any more burdens in our shoulder. So I go back to my first point. Thank you very much. You guys doing very good jobs, and just keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. We appreciate that, and thank you everybody yes, there's a lot of work to do, but we're working on it, and, you know, things will hopefully continue getting better. I just want to leave you on the last note. We're working on our community hub model.
I'm sorry, I've been
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
for about 20 minutes now, man.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring your attention back to the comments that you made about the fine. The lady's gone now, but about the fines and about how you went to, you know, get legal advice.
Oh, the narrow streets, yeah.
Done and whatever else.
Yep.
What I find hard to understand is how can council go and get legal advice that they can't, that rangers can't show discretion in ultimately what is a discretionary process, yet compliance can show all sorts of discretion in how they enforce the development aspects of things. And then I think it shows that as much as you've said and councillors have said you're looking for an outcome-based common sense focus, there's a clear example of an outcome common sense focus based outcome that could not have been achieved because council's been hamstrung by bureaucracy. So how can council work in this outcome focused way, living in this mire of bureaucracy and quite often without the agency that's required in any given situation to act unilaterally?
I reckon we are the most bureaucratic. What's going on? You can't move anymore. You literally can't do anything without doing a study, doing a report.
The outcome focus when you guys can't do anything.
Because we're persistent, we don't give up, and we'll win. Right? We are out there fighting every single day. We work out where's the problem. Is it a policy that has to be changed? Is it about? We'll get through there. We'll find it.
It doesn't happen. It's all about, oh, we couldn't do it. It's not us. Don't blame us. It couldn't happen.
Yeah. Well, we haven't thrown our hands up in the air yet. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there doesn't ever seem to be any ownership of it's either someone else.
No, we're owning the issues. We haven't thrown away but I'm just saying, us here today, have we deflected and said, oh no, other than the big infrastructure issues that we need the billions of dollars, there's that. But the team here, the staff, we're committed to, you know, to tackling, to finding the solutions and not making excuses and actually doing what we can within that the constraints, right? It is when. Yeah.
And you are fighting for it.
There are definitely times, and you'll see we need.
We have to help ourselves for them to help us.
Yeah.
I've been fighting for 5 years and I've got no help from council. And a lot of the people that have been in those positions in all of that time.
Understand. What I'm saying is that we do have to help them as well as a community.
They can't promise things if they can't make them happen. That's my point. They don't promise it if they don't have the agency to make it happen.
Then we vote them out at the next election.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is, man, we're trying to fix the place up. You know, that's what we're doing. We're not going to be perfect, but we're going to do what we can. But we have our new manager here of compliance. Let's have a chat with her. Give her a go. She's literally just started. She's got to build her team. She's got to get her people. I can tell there's a lot of issues in that department. Significant amount of issues. So yeah. Last I say, so I just want everyone to have a look at. We have our team here about the new hub that we're looking at doing, the community hub down at Moorebank Sports Club and around there. So if you can have a look, we're going consultation with it. Any feedback on the plan of management, please, would love it. But ultimately, we want to build good community hubs so you can have a really good place to go to in the community locally, and hopefully have a few of them around the area. But everyone, thank you very much for your time. We greatly appreciated it, and we'll see you again in the new year. We're having New Year's Eve is happening at Warwick Farm Racecourse this year. So hopefully a pony race while we have the fireworks. And we're going to have Christmas lights, Christmas activity at Macquarie Street Mall on the 8th of this month. So please come along. But thank you, everyone.